Shut up. He is, isn't he? Hey, you can't laugh during my YouTube video. Fucking people laughing in the background. What's up, YouTube? Today I'm gonna clean the carburetor on my bike. So to do the carburetor, some of the tools that I'm gonna need is a Phillips screwdriver. What else am I gonna need? I think I just need a Phillips screwdriver. Alright, so I decided to change into some clothing that I wouldn't regret getting grease on. Now, I wanted to take a second to talk to you guys about this tool that you'll see me use. This is an impact wrench. So it's made by a company called Tecton, and it's really cool. So when I have bolts that are starting to strip and are seized and I'm having trouble getting them out, this guy gets them loose for me. So it comes with, I think this is a 3/8 inch drive, so you can put a socket on here and you'll take a hammer and hit the other end, and it's spring loaded, so every time you hit it, whatever, you can set the direction. It will go either left or right, and you just turn, push this in and turn it whichever direction that you want it to either loosen or tighten as you're hitting it. So it's spring loaded, and what you're going to do is when you hit it, it's going to turn like just a little quick, or if you're loosening it. Every time I hit it, it's going to turn it, and then it breaks it free, so that way I can get it the rest of the way out. The other cool thing that I like about this, so it's got the 3/8 inch drive on the front, so you can do a socket, or it's got this piece that attaches to the front, and then it comes with bits with Phillips and standard. And as usual, don't forget to like this video, share this video, and if you'd like to see more in the future, consider subscribing. I do a weekly video for you guys, so keep on the lookout for that. To take the carburetor off, I've lifted the tank because I'm also going to be replacing the petcock on the fuel tank. I'll leave you guys a link for how to take off the tank. I've got a video on that right up here. Bam. And to take the carburetor off, there are 2 screws that I need to loosen at either end of the carburetor. One goes to the air box, and the other one goes to the engine itself. Disconnect the carburetor from the petcock. There's a vacuum hose that's right here. It runs through to the other side, and you'll see how you take that off when you hit that video for the tank removal. This goes to the one end of the petcock. You've got a tube right here. This tube, don't disconnect it. You can pull the carburetor with this tube attached. It is simply just a ventilation tube. So it will just come right through and out, and when you pull the carburetor, it will stay attached. There's one on the other side as well. The other one is right here. This one, same deal. If you push it through, it will come out, and this will stay attached to the carburetor when you pull the carburetor out. This is I guess a vacuum hose that goes, it runs from right here, the air box, all the way to the top of the engine here. I don't want to disconnect it from here, and I noticed that it came loose real easily here. That just gave me a little more room to put this thing back in and pull it out. So right here there's a screw, and right here there's a screw. And I'm going to loosen both of those, and that's going to loosen this clamp around either side of the carburetor, and then literally you're just going to manhandle this thing and pull it out. Right here is your throttle cable, so you just put this up a little bit to create slack here, and then you're going to pop it out. See if I can do it one-handed for you. Yeah, you see how it's wiggled free? Now that's out. And then you just push it up a little bit here, and then you'll be able to pull this up and out and get this cable off of the housing for the carburetor, and just wiggle and pull and wiggle and pull and wiggle and pull. Alright, so I got the carburetor off. And I've got this little cleaning kit that I got on, I think, eBay or Amazon. And it's just different size, either brushes or wires, to help clean the jets and stuff like that. So you've got all these assortment of sizes. I've got a Phillips and a flathead. And I'm going to take this apart. I got this bowl over here and some carburetor cleaner. I'm going to let it soak overnight, and then we'll come back to it and scrub it and get all the details. So here's your float bowl. I'm going to take this apart first. It's actually not that bad. Alright, so here's one of your jets. These jets are brass, so just be careful. So I've used a tiny precision screwdriver to pop out this little pin that holds the float. There's your float. We want to make sure this has no holes in it, so we'll submerge it and make sure that there's no little bubbles or anything like that. I don't know. So that's the top. Now we're going to the, or I'm sorry, that's the bottom. So now we're going to go to the top and remove these 4 screws. Under here there'll be a diaphragm. We got to make sure that's got no puncture holes, it's not terribly warped. Okay, so I've been having some trouble getting these screws loose, and they're beginning to strip. So what I've done is used the impact wrench, or the impact driver again, and I just wanted to kind of show you guys what I was doing to get these free, because essentially I was just stripping them and getting worried that I wouldn't be able to take it apart and have to put it back on dirty. So this is just the screw, or the screwdriver bit. And this one's stuck. I haven't broke this one free yet, so I'm going to show you. But I've gotten the other 3 loose by doing this. And there it is. Now it's loose. Now I can turn it. So that's how you use an impact driver. So now I've got all those 4 screws loose with the impact driver like I showed you guys. And underneath this, you'll have to hold it down. There's a spring. So we take this spring out. And then here's the diaphragm. So now what we'll do here is just kind of look it over. Make sure there's no pinholes in it. Make sure it's not warped, ripped, anything like that. Then I'm going to set it in back with the rest of the stuff. There's a couple of jets in here. I'm going to take them loose. There's one right here and one right here. Now, like I said, these are brass, so be careful. And what I've done to kind of keep things a little organized for myself is all the jets and all the screws are in there, but they're all about the same size. The ones for the top are shorter than the ones for the bottom, so that's easy to differentiate. The jets that are in here, in the bottom, in the float bowl, go to the bottom. So I'm going to put all the jets that go to the top in this top little cap. That way I can keep them separated, and it's a little bit easier to figure out where they go again if you've never done this before. And I'm actually starting to eat away at this one, so I'm just going to clean it as is. I'm not going to pull it out or continue to try to pull it out because I don't want to damage that last jet. I've gotten all the other jets out, so I'll just continue cleaning from there. Spray it and then allow it to sit overnight, and then tomorrow I'll show you guys what I'm going to do to scrub these individual pieces using this little set that I've gotten. Don't stand too close and be inhaling this shit. You heard on here. Better recognize. Alright, just another thing I want to show you guys. Look at now that I've cleaned this, just so the light gets in there. You see all that gunk at the bottom? That's everything that I've cleaned out from the gas. That's all the dirt and grime. So, I'm also putting the float in here at this time. It's a little difficult to see. But just to see, I'm rolling it around to see if there are any air bubbles that come from this float. If there are, then it needs to be replaced. That means when it's in there, it's not doing its job. It's not airtight, so it's not capable of floating as the cup of the carburetor fills with gas. If you have any pinholes in this, then you need to go ahead and just replace it. Alright, so it's been almost 24 hours that this stuff sat in carburetor cleaner, and as you can see, all that trash at the bottom. So I'm going to start scrubbing away. This is where these little adjustable brushes really come in handy. Bottom half of the carburetor cleaned. I've also gone through and sprayed all of this and cleaned it up as well. As you see, I've cleaned that out too. So now I'm going to put everything back where it needs to go. Here's a little tip, because I wasn't paying attention and I left this in the chemical and it started to warp it. So what I did was I pulled it out, I put it back in the carburetor and lined it up, and then set it upside down so that when the chemical and the diaphragm began to dry, it would hold or go back to that shape. So don't leave the diaphragm in the chemical, it will cause it to expand and kind of warp. But we're good to go, I fixed that. Yay. Another really good thing, if you're feeling a little intimidated by this, if you record yourself while you're doing this, then you can rewind and figure out how things went back together. If you're feeling a little insecure or like, oh shit, I don't remember that. Here's my float bowl. No holes or anything, so we're good to go with this. There's a little spring on this that goes into this notch in the float bowl. See that little square spring thing? Boom. So you follow the same principle. You don't want to torque down on any one. You want to move in like a crisscross pattern as you tighten, slowly tighten each of the sides. Right now I'm just getting everything down. I'm not actually tightening anything. And right there is an indentation for him to go. So that's how you know you've got the diaphragm lined up. There is one thing that I completely forgot to talk to you guys about while I was cleaning this. There is an air-fuel mixture jet. That this is the back side of the carburetor. So the other side is where the throttle cable is and where the choke is. So this is the other side. You'll see this hose coming from the back side of the carburetor. This goes to the side of the petcock that is a vacuum hose. It doesn't actually supply gas to the carburetor. But right behind that hose, right there, there is a jet that is your air-fuel mixture jet. And so that gets tightened, all that gets pulled out. It's got a spring and a washer behind it. When you put it all the way back in, it gets 2 full turns backwards, or until the bike idles well. Alright, let's see. Moto Mantha out. You guys stay safe. I'll see you next week.